How are you feeling? Last week.
It looks pretty.
I know.
It does look pretty,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Mission
You all
accomplished.
are amazing. I love it so much.
But I guess we'll get started.
Yeah.
Hopefully Monica can join in, but last week, 8 weeks of this. Can you believe it? 2
No,
months.
it really felt more
Yeah.
like 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of shot by for real.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for sure.
It was great meeting you all last week. It was incredible. Yeah.
More than 1 week. But no, really, really good job. I'm excited to let you all kind of show off the progress from this week. The app is looking super cool.
Mhm.
And then we'll do kind of a last retro. Lars is gonna lead a retro. And then at the end, I just want to hear from each of you what's next. Like, what are your plans after this? What are you going to be doing? So let's start with retro. So who wants to screen share?
With the demo, you mean?
Yeah, with demos.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
What I meant to say was the demo. I don't know what I said.
Andrew's had a long weekend. We're giving him lots of grace.
I am like forgetting everything. Anyway.
Demo it up. Let's see it.
Who's got this? I feel like Nakima should demo.
I can demo what I worked on.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. Is it there?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess I should probably start at the beginning. Oh, what's our link though? There it is. So this last week, I worked on prettifying things, and I used the semantic UI component library for React. So this is what you see when you don't have a list in storage. So I've been using this token that I've become fond of, not a token. And this is my shopping list.
So Nikima,
yes.
we're just seeing the add item to list screen here. I wonder if you share another monitor or
I wonder
different window.
I see shopping lists. Oh,
no.
I don't have another screen.
So do share again. It's like stop share and do share. Try again, and sometimes the screen sharing is a little questionable.
Oh, maybe because I know why. Because I didn't do the desktop, I did just the window.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Okay.
That's better.
Oh, there it is.
Excellent.
Okay.
So smart shopping list. So then I guess I didn't show me logging in. Anyway. So this is what it looks like when you have a list and a token in storage. The details do not have any details. I just dialed them for whenever we're ready to plug those in. I added this delete function. It doesn't prompt you before deleting, it just deletes, but it was nice to be able to like get rid of stuff.
Oh, you can't get rid of grapes.
And so I worked on making things look a certain way, and I didn't work on any of the sorting business for this week. So you notice like the capital letters, they're still sorted in alphabetical order, but the capitals get sorted first. I know my kids are gonna start screaming. So yeah, I guess I'm saying that I just worked on not the logic of the sorting, but just styling it. Purchasing seems to work now. And it still, whatchamacallit?
Filters. Yeah.
Filters.
This is great.
And the add item screen doesn't look too pretty. I didn't have a lot of time to like make those 3 options look cool, but they're there. So I think, okay, Apple's already on the list. Apples, I can add apples. And I'll go back. This arrow goes back to the home page. This goes back to the list. And my apples are there.
Mm-hmm. I really like this, what you did with having the details right there in line. That's
I love that too.
it's really smart, yeah, as opposed to having to navigate to a different view and back and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I can show you the mobile, whatchamacallit.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. I have such an issue with Zoom.
We all do.
That's the thing.
Like there's stuff in my way. Okay. So I did like do a few things to make it like responsive to mobile. Like
Mm-hmm.
this stretches
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's about it.
This looks so great.
Mm-hmm. Very
Excellent
cool.
work.
Nice.
Yay.
So how pluggable is this? Like there was work here and beyond just sort of say I want to use this style, right? You had, because I saw it was sort of added gradually on each page here. So as if there's a fair amount of work sort of beyond just referencing the UI library here.
Yeah, because I did like I added like padding and things like that. And I just took like our inputs and our buttons and used the semantic ones for the other stuff. Yeah, it wasn't like a direct like just switching things out.
Right.
There was extra
Yeah.
to do, but
Mhm.
Looks great.
Yeah, that was an interesting. I saw like there's kind of the base style for like a button or something, and then you have a way to override specific styles, right? Like it adds a file.
like 100 files.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh man, 126 files in this PR, but then I saw like most of them were these empty files. But looked like you overrode for at least a couple things. You had an override file.
Yeah, just I think the checkboxes is like where this style comes from, and then on the site overall had overrides and variables that you could set. So I changed like the font and the size of the font.
Right. Nice.
I forget, had you used semantic UI before?
I've used it before. Yeah.
Okay.
A couple times.
Yeah, it's cool. I used it a couple of years ago and really liked it. I don't have a lot of need for that kind of thing most of the time, but I was building an app back then and liked it a lot. And it looks like they've come a long way with kind of React support and stuff like that. Very
Great
cool.
work.
Yeah, good job. Is there anything else to show? Does anybody else have anything they wanted to kind of show or talk about from the last week?
Monica and I tried to tackle the very soon, and I kind of dropped the ball since I was down in LA. But it's something I kind of want to finish, even though the cohort is ending. And Steve, I don't know if you'd be open to still walking me through it, like after the cohort. I still kind of want to like figure it out and make it happen.
Yeah. Did those last few messages make sense to you as far as the kind of the route to go and sort of?
Yeah, I think I just need to scope it out and like look at the documents again to see how I can call. I mean, it seems like I'm using like an if else statement, like if it's less than 7, then list that view, and else if list this view. Is that kind of the route that we're going to?
Yeah, I think there are a few ways to do it, but that's definitely a totally valid way to do it.
Okay, and then the other way is using like the array method just to get like a segment of it, but I haven't tried that out. Would that work?
Which method are you thinking?
It was like splicing. I'm not splicing an array, but like getting a segment of the array and then returning that segment. I forgot the name of the method.
Slice, maybe? Or
Yeah,
is it
you could
slice?
Slice
Yeah.
would do that, but I don't know if Slice would work because you don't know what order everything is in. Like, you know, it's ordered from
Okay.
soonest to latest, but you don't know exactly where to slice from. So you
Okay.
need to go over each item in the list and then look at that next expected purchase, and
Okay.
then you can decide where to put it from there.
All right. Yeah, I'll create a draft PR and then write like my thought process and then Slack you about it, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Can I hop in on that as well? Because I've been like looking at that branch PR, but honestly, I don't know, something about like this week and looking at code. Like, I've been looking at other coding challenges as well, and it just like was taking me a while to wrap my head around, because I was looking at it and I was trying to like kind of get it sorted through Firebase, like use their order by function to try and just like have it go, oh my gosh, increasing for just the expected value purchase variable. But then I didn't know how to like, because it would crash when you'd pull up a list that didn't have it. Like when we added items before we had implemented that variable, like the app just crashed. I was like, oh, I don't quite know what to do from here. So I definitely want to like see it implemented as well.
Yeah. Do you want to pair program this week? I mean, since we were like haven't pair programmed since like the first time we did it, I'd be down to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's do it.
And then the other thing was, I had kind of mentioned that there's a bug in the way that it sorts right now. Were you able to kind of pick up on what that bug is? And it's a bug that exists today with the sorting.
No, I have not. It was something in my questions to ask you about it.
So it was just if I have say like apples and avocados, and apples is uppercased, or say avocados is uppercased, and or capital cased, and apples is not. If one is not, it gets sorted. Like something that's uppercased has a higher order. So you'd either need to sort it, make some sort of normalization sort on the UI, or we could write some sort of like Firestore function to sort it as it comes out whenever you retrieve that list.
Okay.
Which would be like a totally another thing to do, but functions are a kind of a cool thing I've been poking around recently.
Yeah, there's so much in Firebase that we haven't even touched on. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is like one of those things, like, do you do it on the client? Do you do it on the server? You know, and Google has all the compute resources in the world. So if you can offload your sorting to them, you're probably better off, because they'll do it in like, 10 milliseconds where it might be 100 milliseconds on the client, right? So.
If it was crashing when you didn't have like certain values available, could you remedy that just by putting in default values when the item's added?
That I would imagine that would do it. I hadn't gotten that far.
I honestly don't know what's going on in the code, but that was just
but I mean, that makes logical sense. I'll definitely try it.
Yeah, just when adding an item, I would have you have the three options, soon, kind of soon, not soon, whatever. I would have one of those selected by default.
I haven't looked at that section of the code in a bit. It may already do that. I might have just been using a token that like we haven't been using since we implemented that feature.
Oh, sure.
So it's like all of those old items just don't have that variable at all. But if not, I think that'd be the better way to like go about it, just to like have a default of soon, whether they click, like, just make a default, like you said.
Mm-hmm. I think right now it defaults to 0 if you don't check anything.
Okay.
Oh, does
I was looking around in the data, because I saw a bunch of items that were next expected purchase was 0.
Cool. So cool to see that you all want to keep trucking on this. I love it.
I know, it's cool. Very cool. Yeah. Let's switch over to the retro, and Lars, you can kind of walk us through that. Similar format to before, but
I forget. There's
a project board made.
Yeah, and I have it open here as well. I can share my screen here, and let me post a link in the chat here. So this week we're changing it up a little bit with the different columns, because we're curious what's on your plans for the future here. So the third column is sorry, that was the question later. Sort of how can future cohorts sort of make use of your experience here and your learnings, and how can things be improved for future cohorts? Anything here that was little less, organized than it should have been, or confusing throughout, or if you have any good ideas on, maybe one of the talks should be about a different topic, or whatever you thought was like not quite as good as it could have been. That's sort of what we're looking for there, so that TCL 5 is starting up soon, and maybe some of those changes could be incorporated there. So does that make sense? Yeah, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen then, because I'll fill that out myself in the on this board, and I get nervous if people watch me type that. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and then just put your name in the chat here when you're done, and we'll reconvene in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Lars.
Sure. Hair Love. That's the one that was on CBS Sunday Morning this morning, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they played the whole short there. So that was pretty cool.
I've just been seeing it getting more and more exposure. It's like awesome.
Yeah, my wife's a big movie fan, and so we got the Oscars red carpet stuff on in the living room already. So it's bigger than Super Bowl in this household, that's for sure.
Don't say that.
We went skiing last weekend? Was it the Super Bowl? That's a good move. It's not a whole lot of people out skiing that Sunday. Okay, let me share my screen again. And we're also puppy sitting this weekend, so that's a lot of work. Yeah, the dog's cute when she's cute, but she's not always cute.
Dogs are a lot of work.
Yeah. So counting down the hours to tomorrow at 1.
Get it out of here.
Okay. So I think I am starting as well. So appreciations. I guess a lot of people are going to be repeating this, but I just want to thank everyone for participating. Hard work and a lot of thinking, collaborating, and problem solving. Helping both themselves, but everyone else as well. Learn and grow. So it's been fun. It's been a great learning experience. I've learned some React, learned some front end stuff, and really, really inspiring, and a lot of people who have made a lot of progress in 8 weeks. So it's been fun to witness. And then secondly, just fun to see that Mike and Amber are making plans with Steve's guidance to wrap it up and really polish it, even though we're technically done. So yeah, that's what I have. Then Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone's going to say this, but thank you so much to Andrew, Stacy, Steve, and Lars for being such amazing mentors. I've seen lots of mentors in my recruiting life, and I don't know, you guys are like second to none. If you were all managers, I'd probably be a happy technical recruiter in that sort of sense, trying to hire entry-level developers. So, thank you so much, and I hope these won't be our last times together, at least having conversations. I think you guys are great people and we'll love to continue those conversations. And same thing with Nikema, Amber, and Monica. I felt safe. I felt like I was learning so much stuff from everyone and learning more about myself, like how to be a better person and teammate, and learning how everyone codes. It was a great experience with these 8 weeks together.
Excellent. Okay. Such good teamwork. I'm like so stoked about how well you all work together as a team, because when you think about like real life and getting into a new job, like 2 months in, you're not that close with your team still. You're still figuring out how they work. It's still sometimes a little uncomfortable. And I feel like you all are working together so well and collaborating so solid for only having been working together for like 2 months. So super duper impressive. Great teamwork. Also super appreciate Nikema's blogging. It was incredible. And it's something that I will forever point Collab Labbers to for inspiration on like how to do the thing. So freaking amazing. Thank you. On to Steve.
Yes. So many people to thank. Kind of echoing everybody else. Nikema, Amber, Mike, and Monica for kind of coming together after a somewhat rocky start at the beginning, and just really digging in and doing a lot of hard work and delivering like a pretty solid product at the end. It looked great. Lars, Stacy, and Andrew for being rockstar mentors and organizers and just keeping everyone on task, making sure that everything went as smooth as possible. I felt like, our participants felt great. I know as a mentor, I felt great, and like it was a great experience. Yeah.
And Amber.
Sorry. But yeah, pretty much what we've all been saying. This has been a really great experience. and I really appreciate all of you guys for putting it together so it's an option, because I know I've been going to meetups in the area, and since I'm near like a physical boot camp, like one of those that's like out of different colleges all over, like I end up interacting with a lot of boot camp grads that are trying to like get more experience as they're getting that first job. And I'm like, you should try Collab Lab. I've had a really great time. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. I was literally looking for something to practice being, to do what you guys do to practice being a remote person. I'm like, yeah, I love it. So you should do it. And they get like really excited. So I'm really glad that this exists and that I got to be a part of it. And also, as we've all been saying, I had really great teammates this time. So Monica, Nikima, and Mike are the best. Like Stacey was saying, it's kind of crazy that like there wasn't more friction for how short our time period was. Good crazy, obviously, but crazy all the same. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so just every one of you, I mean, thank you. It's this is still a new program. You're only the third cohort to do it, so it's kind of a risk to take it, to trust that it's going to be a good experience and take it on, and both for the mentors and the participants. I just really appreciate all of the effort you put into it, and all the great feedback, and just I don't know. I really love what we have all created here together, and you're a huge part of that. You'll always be a part of Collab Lab. So yeah, thanks so much for everything.
Okay, I'm just gonna warn everybody that I'm a huge crybaby, so I'll probably be like sobbing before the end of this. And like just like what everybody else said, I'm really grateful for each person and like what each person brought, and getting a chance to work with you and get to know you a little bit better. And I just really felt supported and safe the whole time, and that is huge. So yeah, that's huge. And that's pretty much it. Everybody's awesome, and I'm grateful for the experience.
So fun to get to know everybody.
Okay, then let's move on to what went well. I'll start us off again. Yeah, first of all, sort of this mob programming kind of, or a little more freeform participation this past week. That was cool to see. Managing to add that polish, as well as making progress on the bugs and the remaining functionality. So it was sort of it was fun to witness that coming together, and sort of the planning process in the last meeting, and sort of very flexible and based on what we needed to get done. So that was cool to see. And then thanks especially to Nikima, I thought that was really fun to see that, the delete functionality and the polish there, just making sure that everything was nice and cohesive. That was nice. Like the end result there, that's yeah. Compare to that to a week or two ago, there's a pretty big difference. Yeah, that's all from me. Mike?
Yeah, Nikima, you're a beast. I really enjoyed just seeing you work and just pair programming with you. And on top of that, just, running a startup, being a single mom, and you really inspired me and motivated me. It's like, she's doing all this stuff and she's being able to push these type of code. It was just really inspiring, and it was just fun just seeing that. So Nikima, thank you for being part of my life. And then Steve, I think you, like, when I just post the question like late at night at 11 p.m. at night, I know you're in a different time zone, but you just kind of breaking it down and asking the right questions really like helps me out, like think more in depth, and like make me feel that I'm asked like what are the right questions to ask myself in the long run. So thank you so much for like doing that. It really helps me become a better developer. At the same time, kind of gave me the confidence, like, okay, if I break into some more simple pieces, this problem will be a lot easier for me to solve. So thank you for that.
Okay, so this is just kind of reiterating my appreciation, I guess, in a way. But the hustle here was so strong. I think that went so well. Whatever you all did to grind this hard, keep doing. It was amazing. And I think as far as like the program goes, what went well is we need to keep doing whatever it is that we're doing that's making people feel safe and like they can build bonds on a team like this in such a short amount of time. So great work. Such good hustle. So proud. Next.
Yeah, everything, the app coming together at the end and making it just look really polished. Really impressive to see people digging into like more advanced concepts with React, digging into documentation for Firebase, playing on hooks and context and kind of getting the trade-offs for all of that. The communication and collaboration just continue to increase week after week as everyone just kind of like felt more comfortable with each other and just, yeah, built those bonds. It was really, really cool to see. And yeah, even just asking those questions, like Mike, just asking those questions and being open to really poking and prodding everyone's commitment to just growing and delivering like something really great was just fantastic.
And Amber?
Yeah, kind of piggybacking like the styling for the site, Nikima just like crushing it. I really love how it looks. Like we all love how it looks. And like through that I got to even learn that semantic UI is a thing. Didn't even know there was something like it. So it's always good to use new tools and learn new tools. And that's like I think one of the bigger like things that went right. I was looking for a word, but it doesn't matter with this opportunity, because like one of the things I wanted to simulate as well was like just not learning new technologies necessarily, but just like learning as you code. Because like I know with my boot camp they always made a point of like saying as long like in terms of job hunting, as long as you have a foundation in some language, people just that proves that you can learn, so you can do anything effectively. So I just really wanted an experience where I would be learning on the fly while building a thing, like from a base, as opposed to when I was in boot camp when I was just like a newborn babe with no knowledge whatsoever. So I'm really glad that I had that experience, and I think that we all worked well together, because I think none of us really had like experience with Firestore or anything like that. And like none of us were pretty good or were very good at hooks. So I like that we all learned together. I think that went really well.
Nice.
Cool. And then Andrew?
Yeah. Yeah, we've all said that the app ended up looking really polished and professional. And I really love how it came together. But also the last week especially, but yeah, we purposely kind of structure the whole program to be really like to be very structured, I guess, so that you don't have to think about the mechanics of the project itself. You can really focus on learning how to collaborate. Like that's really the point. But then you all kind of got those things down to the point where you're like, we can do this in a little less structured way, like kind of a more mob programming way, and kind of have people sort of step forward to lead parts of the work and stuff, and still got a bunch of great things done. So I think that shows a lot of growth. I think you became a lot more comfortable just working remotely and working as a team, and kind of you started to understand each other's working styles and things, and were able to just kind of take a little bit more of that initiative onto yourself. So I thought that was a really fun thing to watch.
And then Nikima? We cannot hear you. You have to unmute.
Well, okay. Yeah, I was saying that I had my camera turned off because I was crying. But yeah, I think what went super well was just the overall feeling of this is a safe space and this is also a productive space. So not only did it feel like it was okay to make mistakes and learn and move on from them, but I also felt like we got a lot accomplished and we worked well together. And personally, I learned a lot about documentation in writing, and I had never created a pull request before, like with any type of documentation. It was just a way that we submitted our assignments in the school I was in. So getting to practice like having a pull request as a conversation and getting feedback and implementing feedback. That was just a really great experience that I had not gotten up until this point. And I learned about myself that I enjoy that. Like I enjoy that part of documenting the code. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that was part of the point here, right, Andrew, with covering those items that aren't necessarily covered elsewhere, such as pull requests. So
yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's go through the list of suggested improvements here. I'll start here. The only thing I could think of right away was I just remember I think it's week 1, sort of straight into Firebase, and especially if you haven't worked with that before, I'd never seen it before. There were a lot of things to get started with, and making that work, and understanding, how that all fits together. So maybe some kind of guidance. I don't know exactly what that would look like, but whether it's sort of a little intro to Firebase or breaking it into 2 steps or something like that, maybe. I see there were some other comments later on to, maybe indicating whether it's something is a hard or an easy story would help as well. But that's all I had for now. And Mike?
Yeah. When I was thinking about this question, I really put on like my technical recruiting hat on. It's like, how can we make this so that it's kind of informative in terms of setting us up for interviews? And I think the one thing that we can work on is the preparation of this course. I think first off, we went straight to like, okay, this is Firebase that we're going to use, and this is React hooks. I think implementing some sort of like, either like, this is your prerequisite before we meet up, is create a little small app that uses, a React hook, and this is an updated Firebase, try calling it and adding it, something like that, where we get like the cohort gets a better understanding how everything works. Even though they may not have finished it, it might have been something that would be useful in terms of like, okay, this is what we're getting ourselves into, and this is kind of like a test of like where I'm at right now, so we can gauge later on how the rest of the time we're doing it. And then the second point is, sometimes the stories were confusing, and an idea that I had was like how Steve was just sending us images like, this is how it's supposed to look like in some sort of way. Even though he didn't really give us code, at least we're very visual thinkers, I think. Having that kind of like how it looks like may give us a better understanding. Like, okay, this is how we would work from like, with the finish ending and move backwards, if that makes sense. I think those were my 2 suggestions.
Cool. Okay, mine was, I think that there is a lot of growth that comes from being under pressure and like having to really like hustle in the end to get something done. But I think that we could set our participants up for a more comfortable experience and feeling more successful if we continue to drive home the idea that PRs should be submitted very early in the week, so that we can go through the whole feedback cycle and get things merged on time without that like really hard hustle in the end from everybody. That's it. Next.
That's Steve.
Yeah, a few things, but they were more like ideas kind of also posed to the group. So like people have mentioned clarity on stories, but for me, I'm kind of thinking that in the real world, there's often times where you'll get tickets that really aren't that clear, and there are a lot of questions. And so a really great skill to have that you can even talk about that is often asked in interviews is like, how do you deal with uncertainty? How do you deal with requirements that aren't very clear? And it's developing those skills of like going and asking a PM, going and asking a designer. So when you do get those tickets and you look at them, before you even start, just say like, do I need to throw questions out there? Are there too many things that I don't know how to implement yet? Like that would be a good one, I think, to work on. And then as far as like the Firebase stuff, I was thinking kind of something similar, like maybe having, if it was too confusing with the Firestore React docs not being very clear, and then like you're also bouncing over to the Firestore docs to understand how that's all working, but you don't really see how the 2 map together or understand. I didn't at first either, that Firestore is kind of a real-time database, and the Firestore library just gives you those updates automatically. As soon as the database updates, it gets that data into the UI. So I almost thought that, I wonder if we create our own kind of base Firestore library that can be added on throughout the cohort, but it would kind of take away that magic that Firestore React was doing. And we could just have a hook that's like, use a list, and then we can add the mutation functionality later on. And then just encouraging maybe from day 0, like be noisy, ask questions, just constantly. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just stressing over and over again, like ask questions, don't feel like you have to figure it out yourself. We're here to help accelerate your learning. That's it for me.
Thanks, Steve. Amber?
Trying to hold the space button doesn't work. Well, my only thing for improving kind of like is similar to Lars's, or at least like kind of folds into Lars's, where I don't know if this is like feasible, because I guess the only way that you would really be able to do it is to like get someone outside of the organization to actually do it, to get like a good difficulty level. But like having like a more clear idea of how long a issue like could theoretically take, so you could like gauge through how, like, I don't know, just gauge how much work it needs, so to speak. Because I feel like obviously some of the issues just require more work than others, and you saw one issue, you're like, oh, this is probably going to be pretty straightforward, and then not so much. I mean, that might just be the nature of the thing, but if there was a way to like maybe just get like a slightly better gauge of, oh, issue 1 is going to probably take twice as long as issue 8 or something along those lines, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, it has me thinking we could assign story points to the stories or something. But yeah, I think we do need to do another pass at the stories and kind of refine them so they're more clear, a little more consistent. Like we were just talking to TCL 4 earlier, and I was like, oh, there's some hidden AC like up here in the story description. Like that's like it's not all listed as acceptance criteria. So yeah, I think we probably need to make the stories a little bit better. And it's sounding like too, like we probably need to make a pass at making the stories a little more consistent in sort of how much time each one is going to take. Because the idea is that you spend, I know Nikim was about to talk about this, but around 5 hours a week on each story. But some stories just naturally take longer or don't take as long. So if there's any way we can balance them out, that might be a good improvement to make.
Yeah, why don't you talk about 5 hours, Nikima?
Yeah, so I didn't count how many hours, but I know it was more than 5, probably for every week for me. And maybe if I took, like Steve suggested, maybe I should have asked more questions or like not stayed stuck on things for as long as I did. That might have helped. So it might just be like a personal thing, but I did spend more than 5 hours a week, probably at least double that. But yeah, that's all I had, I think.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to be clear with people that it could be more than 5 hours. And yeah, I don't know. I'd like to find a way to make it so that it can be 5 hours, because it's it's one of the things I think is important to making the barriers to participation lower. So if there are certain stories that are really, really difficult, like we probably need to maybe break those up into multiple stories or something.
Yeah, and I think the harder that we work to make the issues a little more clear and really push people to ask those questions and make them feel comfortable asking them and helping them understand how to ask them, I think we can cut down on that too without necessarily changing the story. Because I think that the stories are pretty bite-sized. I think it's just like when people are getting stuck, again, just like spinning wheels. So if we're just super loud about, do you have questions? What are the questions? Where are you stuck? Being like really active, I think could improve that a lot.
I wanted to add one more thing. I just thought about some of where the time went was trying to fix not having the right things in place at the beginning. And I still feel like that wasn't, like I wanted to, like we ran out of time, but I wanted to like see what it looks like to have the token set at the entrance of the app, which isn't happening now.
Mm-hmm.
And just like if those little things were like in place before we moved on to the next stories, then we wouldn't have had to like that one story that came in like a few minutes before our our sync.
Mm-hmm.
Like we wouldn't have to go back and like fix things that because it wasn't set up right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
That happens in real software jobs all the time too, where it's like, I mean, it's, you know, technical debt or, you know, just something where you don't kind of anticipate the effect that something's going to have on the way you have to do things later or something. Yeah,
Even when you come back a year later and you're like, oh, if only we knew now what we know, you know, or knew then.
I know. Yeah, and sometimes it's really hard to predict, right? But so 2 or 3 weeks ago, we started doing a thing where at the end of the weekly call, we would talk about the coming works week. Do you feel like that helped? Did that actually make it easier to kind of get started and everything? Yeah, okay. Yeah, TCL4 just thinks that's what we've always done because we started with them like right off the bat, and like it's like they're kind of already kind of 2 weeks in, like on a little bit of a roll. So I think that like just that one little tweak, and we learned it from you all, and I think it's going to help all the future cohorts. So thanks for that. So good. All right. So Lars, anything else with the retro?
No, I think we're through. I just wanted to make sure you mentioned the draft of the article I saw earlier, but that's maybe what you had plans to do now.
Oh yeah. So I wrote about y'all. I don't know why. Wait a second. Let me dig it up. I would love to. I'll dig up this link here in a second, but I would love to hear from everybody what your plans are. Like, what are you going to do next? Yeah.
I'm quitting coding. I'm done. No,
come on, man.
I talked about this like with Nikima. I'm gonna take what I learned with this and actually do it by myself as solo and write a blog about like the difference between working in a team and working solo in a project. But I'm going to take it a step further and make it into a React Native, since it's something I really want to look into.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like one of my big projects. And then I'm doing 2 presentations in Portland this year. So like that kind of inspired me. Like Nikima's blogging inspired me. Since I'm really good at doing presentations, I want to do something like a blog, but in terms of a presentation, like talking about code and my experiences. And then hopefully sometime soon and end up with a developer job. That's kind of my goal in the end this year.
Yeah.
What kind of presentations?
So the first, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do for the, there's a JavaScript Myers presentation that I'm looking into doing, but then I'm doing a junior developer one, and that one I'm going to talk about, life as a recruiter and like, what it means to personal brand yourself, and kind of give it a twist on like, this is how like I built out this small app to track your jobs and how to, decipher like where you fell off in terms of the job interview and how you can improve upon that, and kind of going through that app as well.
Nice.
Very cool.
I guess I've been applying, but I'm just honestly, like Mike was saying, trying to get a developer role. Weirdly enough, I'm actually either flipping over to like getting a developer role or getting a role as a support engineer, because I don't know, I like the like intersection of doing coding, but also like helping people and like connecting with people and helping them like understand the technology itself. And I am enrolled in something similar to this called Chingu. We're on like week 3 now, but that's I've kind of been in and out of that experience, unfortunately, just with like code challenges and collab lab and life. So I'm trying to hop back into that for the end of it. It has about 3 weeks left in that program, and I still need to find some way to like blog. It was supposed to be between Collab Lab and Chingu, but like life kind of got in the way as it does. So now I feel like that ticket's kind of worn out since we're done here and we're about to be done there, but I'm going to think of something. And just reminded me, I am a part of a local meetup that's like women of color in tech. And they had reached out to me and they're like, hey, would you like to do a small talk on like JavaScript? Like how, like have someone like build a small JavaScript app. So I got that literally today. So I'm going to try and figure out something for that. So
Yeah,
that's like my
that's
plans.
great.
That's amazing.
Okay, so my kids are okay. Right now, I am okay. So I'm a founder of my own company, and that is, I'm going to open the doors to that community soon. Hopefully, like this week.
Oh wow.
So with that comes a lot of I don't know, I'm stressed. I'm stressed about everything that's happening right now, in just life and developer life. So when I open and I have like members and users, I'm anticipating that my job's going to get a lot more difficult. Like I was comparing it to like having a baby, like, you know, when you have a baby, you're pregnant, like you can prepare, but you don't know what's going to happen until that baby's out in the world. So like pushing my baby out into the world is like, it's scary, but it's exciting. And I am in need of an income. My company does not make money for me, and I can't, I don't know, I can't depend on like an income from that. So my attitude towards job searching is dream jobs only. Like it has to be remote, and it has to be with a company that I admire and trust. So I'm kind of open to it, but I'm trying to also give myself like time box it and like give myself time to like fully focus on my startup. And if it continues to go on and I'm not making any money, then maybe get more serious about looking for a job. But right now it's like, I will apply dream jobs only, which is like, I've only seen one that I want to apply to right now. And yeah, so yeah, there's that.
Which job is that? The dream job, and why is the dream job?
Glitch is hiring, I think, for a full stack developer, and they are like, I admire the CEO. Like he seems to be pretty woken with it, and I admire the product. Like I like Glitch. Like I've used it. I think it's really cool. Like I like everything that democratizes tech and gets more people, you know, in. So, yeah.
You got this, Nikima.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Well, you're so right about giving birth. I mean, not that I would know directly, but that, you know, like when it's still in there, it's all self-contained. You have a lot more control, and then like you put it out in the world, and you lose a little bit of control, but also the possibilities just, you know, they just open up, right? So it's the right thing to do, and you're right. Your world is going to get more stressful and more busy and all those things, but it's not going to become anything if you don't do that. And the possible reward there is so great. So, you know, let us know how we can help. You know, happy to amplify your message any way we can, and you know, provide whatever support we can. So, you know, keep blogging and keep telling us how it's going.
Thank you.
Yeah. So exciting. All right. Well, I wrote about you all. It's live on dev.to or practical dev, or what do you call it? I don't know. But yeah, I wrote about just sort of the recap of the cohort. And you know, feel free to blog this or to tweet this out, or do, you know, blog your own kind of version of how this went for you. And you know, it was so great getting to know all of you and working with you the last 8 weeks. It's really been a great experience. Anybody have any other last things to say or share?
I would go on forever. But this has been an incredible experience, and every cohort is so different, and I love them all so much, and I'm so sad that you're leaving. But I'm so excited for all the amazing things you're going to go do, and we're here for you, and we want to hear from you and keep in touch and support you and help.
Yep.
Love you. That's all. That's all. All right. Well, we've
Thanks,
kept
everybody.
long after we should have. So
Yeah.
go out into the world and do amazing things.
Yep. Nice job.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone. There's a fun sounding plans there. I'm super excited to hear updates from everyone.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Don't be strangers.
Everybody take care.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye,
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody.